All right, so I hope everybody can hear me clearly. And today we will do verbal ability, which is English, right? One section that comes in your exam. All right. So what I'll do is maybe I can just get started with, sharing with you a little bit about, your exam. So let me just share my screen very quickly. I hope all of you can hear me clearly and see me. Let me just share my screen very quickly. So as you can see on my screen right now is, this sample paper, okay, from Study in India. This is how your actual exam will look like. It's just that this is the offline copy, but you will have it, an online test for the same. So as you can see, right, it says direction question 1 to 5. Read the following passage and answer these questions. So in your verbal section, in your English section, you will get different types of questions. One of the common types of questions is passage, where you are given this reading comprehension and you are given this passage and it talks about street theater in India, etc., etc. And then, this is where it is, this small 3-4 paragraphs. And then there are questions on that, like modern means of entertainment and communication dash street theater, right? So there are then questions on the same thing. All right. So this is called, unseen passage. And from where did I get this paper? If you go to free content zone and on our website, stepuplearning.net, under that, if you go to PRAGATII SII exam, you will get this UG mock test. And this is where I got this from. Okay. So there are 5 questions on this particular passage and the answers are also there. And then similarly for the second passage is more about self-directed learning and what it is, and what are the reasons for this, etc. And then there are some questions on the same. Okay, 5 more questions. Then what you will also see is that there are some questions around idioms. So what is idioms? Is that idiomatic understanding is that, see, English has evolved over a period of time. And what used to happen is that sometimes there are some phrases in all languages, whether it's English, whether it's, Hindi, whether it's, Nepali, whether it's, any other language, right? Urdu, there are some sort of phrases, that people use, but only people who are in that particular area understand the context of that, right? So literal translation. So when you say his promotion is on the cards, meaning, or his marriage is on the cards, meaning it's something that is, possible to happen, and things like that. Okay. So things like that. So these are sometimes, native English speakers whose first language is English. They are very comfortable and understand this, but sometimes we may not know the context, right? So therefore it's important to know some ideas, right, about these idioms. So for example, sometimes if we say it's raining cats and dogs here, that does not literally mean that cats and dogs are dropping, from the sky. But what it actually means is that it rained very heavily. Now, again, it's not like it's funny. It may sound funny, but there was a logic. So back in the old days in England, what used to happen is the sewage was not that good. So what used to happen is that whenever it used to rain heavily, all the water used to get blocked and, block the roads, and, all the water clogging used to happen. Because of that, what used to happen is that a lot of cats and dogs would actually drown. They would die because obviously, because of too much water everywhere, right? And there won't be a single place. So what used to happen is after heavy rains, if you really walk on the road when the water has all gone away, you would see that cats and dogs on the road dead. And that's where this whole, phrase came about, that it rained, cats and dogs. But this is just an example. These are called idiomatic, idioms. So it's something that you should be aware of. So sometimes, how you can use it in a sentence. So they're asking you exactly, tell me what is the meaning, right, of this. And you know that sometimes some words can have different meanings. For example, simple word like, for example, if I say, I am preparing for scholarship test and I'm working very hard. That is one kind of work. I can say also, I want to take care of my health and I'm going to the gym and working very hard daily, right? Now these are all different things. Working is one is used in the form of exercising. One work is used in the form of studying. It could also be that I am working hard and I work late in my office, so which means it could be I am working hard, right, which meaning a job. So I'm saying a simple word like working could have different context. So it's very important to understand in which context the same word is used, and when we apply the context in the scenario, in the situation, do we really get to the right meaning? Okay, so these are idioms, and like things like that, like let bygones be bygones, like, or things like don't cry over spilt milk, right? That means what has happened has happened. Now focus on what is in your hands. You can't worry about class 10th marks right now, right? I mean, that's gone, that's your past. Focus on what is in your control. Okay, things like that. All right, so these are again idiom kind of sentences. And then there are other kinds of sentences where it's about errors. Okay, so if these in these questions a part of the sentence has errors and other parts have none, so find out which part has an error. Okay, so as you can see, like this is a sentence, there is some mistake in one part, and if it is in this first part the majority of the, then you will choose mark 1 as the option. If it is in uh, you know uh, uh, second, then you can choose mark 2 option, right, and things like that. Okay, that's how you sort of do it. So whichever part has an error, you have to choose that same part. Okay, like that you have to so these are grammar questions, right? Then you have also something called as which expresses the meaning of the given word, right? Triumph, right? So what is triumph? It is gain, it is to do with victory, is it excitement, is it joy, right? So which expresses the meaning of the same word, right? So which is closest in meaning, right? So you may say, okay, whatever, right? Victory, for example, right? Or dearth, right? Meaning there is dearth or scarcity, and things like that, right? Which is less of that particular thing, right? Dearth of food in my country, meaning there is less food, for example, right? Things like that. Or dearth of good educational colleges, right? Education institutes in my vicinity, right? Meaning in the close by area there are less or fewer, right, good universities, right? Amicable, right? Again, what is the meaning of this word? Okay, like that, right? And similarly, as you can see, sometimes what you have to also focus is, you should also focus on reading the sentence. For example, in the previous 5 questions, it was about choose the one that expresses the meaning of the given word, meaning synonyms, okay, which has same meaning. But if you really see the second set of questions for the next 5 questions is word opposite in meaning. Sometimes I've seen people not reading the question properly, and then when it comes to, like, they are choosing the exact synonym, but they have to choose the opposite word, and then they come back very, very upset from the exam saying that, oh no, I did the opposite, right? So please be careful as to what you're choosing, right? What's the right word and things like that. All right, so can you hear me guys clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and then right, these are some questions. Then there is also some questions like, choose the right word from the options given. Art of deceiving somebody in order to make money is called what? When you deceive somebody of their money, you must have seen, right? Especially as students, you all have to be very careful. I mean, I keep getting these messages suddenly that, hey, you won a lottery, right? Or, you've got admission here. Or, for example, just, do this job for, whatever, 50,000 a week, easy money and things like that, right? These are mostly to trick people, right? and fraud people, right? Especially a lot of our, our parents also, right? It is more difficult for them because they are not even as computer savvy as we are, right? Sometimes they say, just click on the button, or just give me your OTP and we will transfer you 5,000 rupees and things like that. These are all ways to, fraud people, right? To cheat people's money. So we have to be very, very careful, right? So things like that. So he's talking about, what is this sentence is for a particular word. What is that word? It is fraud, right? When you cheat people of their just lie to them because you want to make money, right? To say, quickly just do this and we will transfer 1 lakh to you. Congratulations, you've got a lottery, right? These are all to fool people, innocent people, right? But we have to be smart. We should not trust anyone, right? We should be very, very careful unless it is our parents and we have done our research, right? Mostly 99.9% these are cyber crimes, and people cheat people money new ways, right? Now mostly online, right? And things like that. Okay, so things like that. Okay, one who retires from society lives alone, living alone, lonely, right? And things like that. So recluse is the correct word, right? Meaning you're a loner, right? You want to stay alone and things like that. Okay, and similarly, these are some words where they're asking that, hey, this sentence means something. Which word describes this sentence? Okay, so you have to choose like that. Okay, and then next is about prepositions, right? So suitable words. So they will say, since she failed in the examination, she prefers to remain aloof, and things like that. So you have to choose this particular answer. All right, like that. Okay, so I just wanted to give you clarity as to how in your exam your 40 questions, right, or in the from the verbal section will actually come. All right, how how will those 40 questions come? Okay, so I just wanted to give you, this clarity. And today we will, study English, of course, right? So but I just wanted to give you a flavor of how your actual exam is going to look like. All right, so now you tell me, how should we go about it? Are there any questions at this stage? Some people are saying they can't hear me very clearly. Is it only with few people, or is it with everybody?
No, I'm getting you clearly, but you are too fast.
All right. Okay.
You're sounding a bit low. You're sounding a bit low from my
Bit
side.
low.
Yes,
all right.
yes,
All right.
low from my side.
Is it better? Is it better now?
Still low. At first, it was clear, but I know at the end of your presentation, you went low.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
very well.
All right. Okay, great. So any other questions that you guys have that you want to ask me at this stage around the English section, the verbal section? Yes, guys, tell me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I am saying, okay. So what is it that we should cover today? I am asking a question to people, right? So would you like me to cover, for example, this particular question paper, right? That I was just sharing with you, right? Should we discuss this question paper? Would you like me to go through like one question and then discuss that? Or would you like me to teach you a particular concept? It could be grammar, it could be vocabulary, it could be reading comprehension. And I know this is your first verbal class, so to speak. So tell me, what is it that majority wants to do today? I am comfortable doing whatever you say.
So to me, I'll suggest we go through.
Why don't you write in the chat? Why don't you write in the chat whether you want to do words, new words, vocabulary, whether you want to do some grammar, whether you want to do some reading comprehension? What is it that you want to do? Today is English class, so we will not do logical reasoning because Sonam ma'am already did this Thursday English, I mean logical reasoning, so I don't want to do logical reasoning. I think she did DI or logical reasoning. Yeah. Okay. So I can see some people are saying, let's go through these questions. Some people are saying, let's, do some vocabulary. There is also one person who's saying that, okay. Okay. So somebody saying, highlight to me what the paper is going to look like, right? Okay. So let me just go through that. All right. So let me just share my screen very quickly. All right. So it's now called PRAGATII. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now share my screen, right? Can you all see my screen? Okay. And I will just talk about at a very high level, right, as to how many questions will come, right? And we will do some questions practice, okay, so that you're comfortable. We will also do vocabulary. I will touch upon a little bit on grammar as well, okay? So English has most number of questions, meaning 40 questions, 40 marks, right? Out of the total 90 marks, okay? And for each question, you get approximately a minute, okay? As you can see, right? 90 questions, 90 minutes. Now, in the English verbal section, what all topics do you have? So you have reading comprehension. I just shared with you, if you remember, a passage will be given. There will be questions asked on the same passage, right? That's called reading comprehension, meaning no knowledge is required. You just have to read carefully, understand what the author is trying to say, and we have to then answer questions on that. It's like, let's say I show you a movie and then I ask you questions on that, saying that, what do you think was the name of the hero in the movie? What do you think was the name of the heroine in the movie, right? What color shirt was the hero wearing when he was driving this car and the accident was about to happen, right? What color shirt was he wearing? So basically what you have to do is you have to recall and just see. But the good news is they will not take away the reading comprehension. It will be there. You have to read it, but it is there. So you can just validate and make sure you get, all questions correct there, right? It's just about paying a little bit of attention. Then fill in the blanks. We just saw grammar, meaning correct, incorrect sentences, right? And then we also did some vocabulary, antonym, synonym questions, and things like that. All right. So this is really your high level syllabus. Okay. Similarly, for logical reasoning, I don't want to get into all this, but your teacher will, share, and I can attempt one to, logical reasoning questions also. That's not a problem, right? But this is just to, give you an idea about what kind of questions come in logical reasoning. 5 people are sitting here. The person sitting on the leftmost side is wearing a black shirt, and the person sitting in next to the guy who's wearing the white color shirt is not wearing green color shirt, and these are the 5 color of shirts they're wearing. Now tell me who's sitting in the middle, and things like that, right? So you have to do some some common sense logical problem solving to arrive at the correct answer. Okay. Okay. So somebody saying, what is a para jumble? Basically, para jumble is simple. Sometimes what they will do is one paragraph, they will take one paragraph and they will, let's say that paragraph has 4 sentences. So they will jumble the sentences up randomly. It's like, let's say a movie has 4 parts, and let's say I rename the different parts of the movie and jumble them up and randomly give it to you. And then I ask you, what do you think is the starting scene of the movie, right? What do you think is the ending part? What do you think is the second part and the third part? So using common sense, saying that, okay, initially it should start like that. So once upon a time, or, something like that, like an introductory sentence should be at the beginning, right? Or if there is connection between 2 sentences, these 2 sentences will always come together, right? Things like that. So those are para jumble kind of questions. Okay. And this is your maths section that you will have to go through. All right. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Will you
Yes,
send a
please.
link for us to follow?
Sorry.
Will you send a link for us to follow after this class so that we can be studying before you can come back to class? Will you send a link to where you get this thing from for us to continue studying? Because during the math class, we had a link. So I don't know whether you will send a link for us to follow too.
Okay. So it's the same link
To
that
link
is.
up to where you get it.
Okay.
The
Okay.
same link for the math, that's the same link for the village.
Yeah, it is the same link, right, for the class, right? So all these classes will have the same link, right? So it's not like the link
I
is
get that.
different.
Well, I'm saying the link for when we are not in class or to continue studying. Like she sent our link, we went there and we had a bar chart. We were studying on it. So now it is the English. I don't know whether you send our link or website for us to continue studying from.
Okay, I think James, it's difficult to comprehend what you're saying, right? But I do know that you are asking about link to the class, maybe, right, to these classes. So all these classes link are already provided, and I can.
I'm asking for link for us to study after the class time, not during the class time, but after the class time.
Okay. I will provide that link to you guys. Okay. So I'm providing here the website link. All right. Where you can actually prepare. Okay. You can create your account, free account here, and then you can, prepare here. Also our YouTube channel that you can really go through, right, for all different videos, and can prepare and things like that. So that is also one option that you have. I'm just sharing that link as well.
So may I ask any question?
Yes, please tell me.
I want to know about the admissions for application.
Sorry, I can't hear you properly. Can you just type in your questions in the chat? I think that would be good. And let's do one thing, guys. Let's keep the questions a little later. Okay. Let's go through the questions, because let's study these questions. We will discuss later whatever questions you have. Okay. We will discuss these questions a little later, but let's go through, what we were covering. All right.
Right.
Okay. All right. So can you see my screen? Right. So as you can see, there are sometimes two passages, right, that come. Okay. And you can do what you can do is you can have 10 questions, right? 2 passages, 5 questions in each passage. There can be some vocabulary questions, some grammar questions, some idiom questions, and things like that. All right. So this is your English section, how it is, overall there. Okay. Similarly, like for example, let's do this, for example. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the answer to the first question? What is choose the option same in meaning, like opposite. So what is the option that means opposite, similar to opposite? What it means? Yes, folks, write down your answer in the chat. Correct. So this is not opposite, this is opposite. Okay. Opposite is, for example, her house is opposite to my house. So that is opposite, right? But this is opposite. Opposite means appropriate, right? Apt, right? Apt, appropriate. All right. So yes, the correct answer therefore would be option number 2, right? Second is benign. What is benign?
Sir, it's abnormal swelling in the body.
Sorry. Yeah. So you can type in the chat, and let me just mute all just so that there is no disturbance. All right. Okay. Now benign, what does that mean? Yeah. Option 3. Okay. Yeah. Benign is good. Okay. Okay. So for example, right. So I'll tell you. So what happens is some words also come from a particular root. Do you know there is a root, which means that from that same root, there can be many words. For example, benign means good, like ben, born. Okay. So ben, born is good. For example, some other words from this root are benefit, beneficiary, benign, or benignant, right? There the opposite word is malignant. Sometimes people get tumor, right? So it can be a benign tumor which can be treated. Malignant is the cancerous tumor which is bad. Okay, things like that. Okay, benefit, benefactors, right? And things like that. All right. So favorable. Okay. Now, for example, sometimes these are the same words that we were using, right? These are nothing but idioms, right? Because idioms also come sometimes, right? So these are idiom kind of questions, right? That we saw. All right. And then these are some maths questions and so on. Okay. I will go to that question paper and let us solve a lot of those questions. Okay, that I was sharing with you. So where is this paper? Let me just share that, and then we will solve these questions just so that you get an idea about the actual paper also. Okay. So this is from the Study in India team. So we can get an idea, right? So things like that. Let's start from here. Encouraged by the success of his venture. So first you always read the question, what we have to do. Fill in the blanks with suitable word from the alternatives given below. These are the alternatives. We have to choose which is the one that fits best. Okay. So let's start from question number 36. Okay. Since she failed in the examination, she prefers to remain aloof dash her friends. Because she failed in the examination, maybe she's very stressed, right? And therefore she wants to stay aloof, like away from her friends, right? So remains aloof or away by your friends, away of your friends, away under your her friends, or away from, aloof from. So I think it's more like, since she failed in the, she prefers to remain aloof, meaning away from her friends. So therefore from seems like the best answer, right? So again, this is to do with common sense, and that's why reading English is very important. Okay, so English newspaper you should read, right? English you should read, because we all speak, like my first language is not English, but then if I want to succeed in my, in my work, in my studies, I should know decent English. Okay, it is the most widely spoken language, right? So therefore what we should do is we should learn, we should try and read newspaper in English, etc. Okay. 37. On the campus there is much indiscipline dash want of proper management. On the campus there is much indiscipline in want of proper management, for want of proper management, upon want of proper management, at want of proper management. Now, these things you will know, meaning there is a lot of indiscipline, right? And this needs, for example, proper management, right? So things like that. So for seems most appropriate here. All right. Now, some of these things are not always, rule based, but then sometimes there can be some basic rules, right? That you can apply to, prepositions, right? On the campus, there's much indiscipline for want of proper management. Okay. Then we must not show partiality, right? Dash our relatives. Like, for example, if my relative is in this class, right, it should not be that I should only focus on him or her, right? I should focus on all students equally, right? I should not be partial. So it says we must not show partiality not for our relatives. It is always to relatives, partiality towards our relatives, right? Not of our relatives or at our relatives, right? So second option seems to be the best option. All right. Okay. The laborers are clamoring dash hike in their wages, right? Meaning they are requesting or asking or sort of, wanting, right? Something, right? So they're clamoring for hike in their wages, meaning wages, you understand? Wages meaning salary, right? So I hope you understand that, right? Wages for our salary, right? 40th, encouraged by the success of his ventures, he has decided to embark, meaning start, right? Embark. Encouraged by the success of his ventures, he has decided to embark upon the expansion program, meaning he wants to scale up the program now because he's become successful. So let's say you started a restaurant, right? Or a coffee shop, and suddenly it is very popular. So what you want to do is you want to embark upon, an expansion program. You want to, expand your business, right? So like that. Now, what I'll do is I will just, share with you some, basic stuff. Okay. Okay, so let me just say, so let me say new slide. Okay, and I hope you can see my screen. So sometimes what happens is that, these are questions that always come. Okay, preposition. So what are prepositions? Preposition is, there are different parts of speech. Okay, and sometimes we should know what preposition should be used where. So preposition is a word like on, at, in, inside, for, among, between, right? And so on and so forth. Okay, so we should know some basic rules around prepositions. For example, some common mistakes that you will see is, when do you think we use among and when do we use between? Let me ask you this question. Yes, guys, tell me. When do we use among? When do we use between? Correct. Tell me. So we use between when you're comparing between two people. Like, for example, if I say between Sabir and William. So I'm talking about two people. Okay. Between Sabir and William, right? Sabir is this. Okay. Something like that. Or for example, I can say among Jalala, William, and Sabir. Now, three people, you should use among. Okay. So in grammar questions, if they write you're comparing between three things, you should use among. When you're comparing two things, you should use between. Okay. That's simple logic. Hope everybody understands this now, right? Okay. So these are common, mistakes, when it comes to, for example, prepositions. Second, for example, words like since or for, very simple words I'm giving you, since or for, but you will see a lot of people making mistakes here. For example, if I say, I am studying since last 3 months for Pragati, or I should say for the last 3 months for Pragati. I'm studying for the last 3 months, or I am studying since the last 3 months. Write in the chat your answer. It should be since or for. I'm studying in this college since 2 years or for 2 years. So basic logic is that whenever you are using since, it has to be a point of time. Okay. And when you're using for, it has to be a period of time. I hope I'm not confusing you with this. For example, when you say I'm studying in this college, I'm studying for Pragati exam. I started I've been studying for this exam. I've been studying here for 2 weeks or for 2 months or for 2 days. Then it should be for, because these are all period of time. But when it is point of time, for example, since 2021, since 1957, since I started studying since 2 p.m. yesterday, since Saturday, okay, right, since today morning, right? So anything when you're talking about a period of time like 1 week, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 years, 50 years, it is period of time. Then you will use for. Where you will use since when there will be point of time. Okay. So some simple things like that. Okay. So that's, for example, okay, one thing. Now, let me just maybe erase this. Just a second. Where is the, sorry. Okay, so let me use maybe the next slide. Okay, now for example, one more thing that you will realize is that, so let me say I want to discard my annotations. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, the other thing is, if you were to, let's say, describe somebody's address. Okay. So for example, if you're saying you want to describe somebody's address, so the more specific location, you can use prefer options like at, right? On is for more broader area. In, for example, let me say, if I say, so let's say we will say Kiran stays at K52. I'm just making it up address on Mosque Road in Bangalore. So again, what we are trying to do is see different prepositions you are using. But when you have a broader area, like I live in the United States, I live in Bangladesh, right? Or I live on MG Road. So on a street, on a road, right? So this is on you use, right? The more specific it is going, the more pointed exact address, right? This is more exact, very specific, right? So you use words like at. Got it? Simple things like this. Okay. I'm just trying to share with you how you decide what prepositions where to use. One, when you read you get an idea, but also there are some rules also around this. Okay. Or for example, if I say, let's say if I say, Pranita jumped should it be in the water or should it be into the water? Into, yeah. So when there is motion, it should be into. Okay. For example, if I say, okay, right? So if you are talking about, for okay, if I say, let's say, let me give you another. I'm just making up another sentence. Okay. Okay. So let's say this is the sentence. Muamba threw the duster. Duster, you understand, in a class you write with chalk and there is a duster with which you clean the blackboard, right? That duster. So Muamba threw the duster at Neonzima or to Neonzima. What do you think, which preposition we should use? So actually, you can use either one. Okay. It depends what your intention is. If Muamba's intention is to hit him, right, with that, if he wants to hit him, then it should be at, because then he's targeting and, specifically, targeting and hitting him. But if his intention is to pass the duster, to say, I want to pass it to you, then it should be to. But I'm just giving you an idea as to how prepositions can be used, right, in different context, differently. All right. Okay. Let me just, stop here and get to our, our paper again, right, to start attempting a few more questions. But we will go through some questions and then I'll also cover some theory just so that you know, okay, what it means. All right. Okay. Now, next question. Fill in the blank with the right word from the options given below. Art of deceiving somebody in order to make money is called what? Is it pickpocket? Is it robbery? Is it theft? Yes, guys. Tell me. What is the difference between pickpocketing and fraud? So for example, if you're going in a bus, suddenly you realize, oh, where is your, pocket, where is your wallet gone? And your pocket is missing, right? That is, that could be your, pickpocketing. Okay. Right. But when the art of deceiving somebody in order to make money. But for example, if I say, hey, there is a nice offer, if you give me, like, there is a, let's say, for example, I call you and I say, hey, you have won a lottery and now you will get $5,000. And you're like, suddenly you think, oh, suddenly you got lucky, right? And then I say, yes, you will get $5,000 because you are one of the lucky ones. And, we did this quiz and you won, and please come here and collect, right? Your money. Or for example, to say, please give me your bank account details so that I can transfer your money. So you become very happy and then you transfer your amount. Then you basically give them your bank account, and then they'll say, okay, fair enough. Now what you have to do is, as a as a tax or a small commission fee, I need to get 1,000 rupees from you, just as a small tax, but I will anyways pay you that back, don't worry. But you just right now transfer this 1,000 rupees, and then I can transfer this, whatever, $10,000, $5,000, whatever. You say, oh, only 1,000 rupees, but I'm getting 5,000, 10,000. So the moment you transfer money, then the then the person who was talking to you suddenly disappears. Okay, so these are ways to fraud people. Okay, so the first one is fraud. Okay, pickpocket is different. Robbery, like somebody, you had gone somewhere, suddenly your house is ransacked, and things like that, all the things taken away, your TV and things like that. So that's robbery and things like that. Okay, but yeah, so this is simple, right? I hope there is no confusion here, right? Yeah, trapping people, right? Okay, now second, one who retires from society and lives alone. We discussed this, right? So see, saint is somebody who's very, very good, who does only good things, who never cheats people, who's a very nice saint, meaning who really wants to say, no, I don't want, you can take what you need from me, right? Like saint doesn't want anything in life, right? So that's it. Giant is different. Giant, somebody is huge, right? Giant. Okay, so that's also difference. But the question is asking what? Question is asking that when person stays alone, like for example recluse, or for example somebody who is very lonely, right? So what does that mean? That is a recluse, right? People who stay alone. Okay, got it? So retires from society and lives alone. Okay, plaintiff is more in the it's used more in like for example, if somebody is filing a case against somebody, right? That's more like a plaintiff who brings that case forward and things like that. The art of making pots, bricks with clay. This is very easy, right? I'm sure all of us know this, right? So not potting, ceramics. Okay, so that's the art of making pots, right? Anything that is no longer in use, right? So you say this is very obsolete, right? This is very become very old school, right? Obsolete, this has become old obsolete, right? Things like that. All right, person coming from a foreign land to settle here, right? So you call it immigrant, right? Somebody who comes from a foreign land, it's called immigrant, right? What I'll also do is, because these were some vocabulary words, let me also share some maybe words with you, right? Some interesting words. Okay, somebody's saying all right, yeah. So what I'll do is, let me just maybe share some interesting words with you. Okay, let me first, let's say, create all right, yeah, okay, cool. See, emigrant and immigrant. So basically I will tell you, so basically the difference is, see, emigrant has just a more like a e additional. Okay, and here it's more to do with like positive. EU is good, a good migrant, right? That's how they call it. But let me just share my screen and maybe teach you some basic words. All right, somehow. So there is something called as root words. What does that mean? Meaning this is a shortcut to learn new words. Okay, to shortcut to learn new words. Thank you. Yeah, okay. So here, for example, what happens is, like for example, and I'll teach you some words. Okay, don't worry. So for example, let's say simple words, like some words in the English language has come from from different languages, right? Those languages could not be English, they could be Latin, Greek, French, Urdu, Hindi, Sanskrit, right? And things like that. Okay, So there are some roots, okay? And the good part about root words is that like these root words are the fundamental parts of that big word. For example, even if I were to, let's say a word like, for example, pneumono ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis. It's a very long word in the English language, but interestingly, it's made up of different roots. For example, pneumono ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis. Okay, it's a disease which is caused by absorption of silica. What I'm trying to tell you is even the long words are nothing but made up of small words. Microscopic silico volcanoconiosis, right? So I'm just saying like that's the secret to words. So now if we learn some of these basic roots, for example, I will write some roots and we will learn what those roots mean, and then you will have to guess the words that have come from that root. Like for example, somebody also was asking, right? EU, I'll cover that also, right? Let's say right now ABS means before. ACR means sharp or SAR. So if you know that this root means this, okay, then you can guess the meaning of a lot of words easily. And one root can give meaning up till 28 words. So you can imagine, right? For example, ABS, it means before, okay? So what does that mean? For example, not before, sorry, that is ante. This means away from. For example, if I say absent, it has come from away from, correct? If I say abroad, it has come from this root, okay? If I say abdicate, it has come from this root, which means to give up. If I say abortion, right, it means to do away with something, right? So away from. If I say abscond, the child absconded. If I say abhor, or if I say absurd. So I'm just giving you an example that lot of words, right, would come from this root, and all of them have some meaning to do with away from, right? And things like that. Similarly, you have words like ACR, which means sharp or SAR, right? Is there a question? Yeah. Okay. Right. So for example, AMI, which means, right, or ACR. This means, can people guess the meaning of some words that have come from the root ACR? Meaning that root could be either in the middle or somewhere in the beginning or at the end, right? Mostly, let's say in the beginning. Can you guess what is the meaning? Some words which has the meaning sharp or SAR related to it, and words that have ACR. Can you guess what those words are? Accurate. Very, very good. Yes, very good. So somebody said accurate, right? Very good, very good, very good. Shaurya, Saturthika, very good, very good. Yeah. So accurate, acute, right? It can also be acumen, correct? It can also be acerbic, acrimonious, bitter, okay? And things like that. AMI, like for example, there was a word we saw, right? Amiable. Amiable, like if I say my mother is an amiable person, meaning loving person, right? Amicable meaning friendly, right? I mean, the two countries came to an amicable agreement between each other, right? India and Pakistan came to a amicable agreement, right? So that they will not, fight each other. They resolved the conflict without, fight and things like that, right? Mutually agreed, right? Like that. So ME, okay. Anti, right? Antiseptic, anti-pollution, anti this, anti-corruption, blah blah, all that, right? Similarly, anti, right? And these are all the words. Similarly, somebody was asking sometime EU. This means good. For example, euphoria, or for example, euphemism. Anybody knows what is euthanasia? Anybody knows what is euthanasia? Yeah. Yes, folks. Eulogy is also correct. Absolutely. Right. So, see, EU is good, right? So, for example, euphoria, extreme joy. Euphemism is something that we say in a better way. For example, sometimes instead of toilet, we say restroom, right? Why do we, right? So, why do we say that, right? Just so that you don't say he's dead, right? You say he passed away, right? And things like that, right? So to say some things in a more polite way, right? Euphemism, right? Eloquent, eloquent meaning good, right? Very good speaker. So it has come, there are two roots. Sometimes two roots also can be there. LOQ or LOC actually means to speak. Okay. LOC, LOQ means to speak. So when you say eloquent, meaning a very good speaker. Okay. Very good speaker becomes eloquent. Okay. Like that. So and more words, for example, you can also say LOQ, like loquacious. Some people like to talk a lot. They use too many words. Some people are very, very crisp to the point. Okay. So those people are called laconic. Right. For example, loquacious is, see, OUS is actually a root. For example, if you say famous, OUS is a root which means full of fame. Full of. OUS means full of words, meaning if you ask them one simple thing, but they will tell you one full long story. Laconic could be people who are very to the point, very terse, right? Very succinct. Okay, to the point and things like that. All right. So loquacious, right? There are also some people who are grandiloquent, meaning who like to talk very big, bragging a lot. My friend, he has this bike, it goes at 300 kilometers per hour and all, right? I mean, just bragging, right? Just to talking big. I know this also, I know that person also, everybody I know in the world, right? So that is grandiloquent, talking very grandiose, right? Very big, magniloquent, right? And things like that. Okay. So these are some ways, but I just wanted to give you some, suggest some words so that you can say, okay, now if I ask you what is the meaning of this word, let's say, who can guess? What is somniloquent? All classes are streamed live, so they are all being recorded, so you don't have to worry. What is somniloquent? Anybody? See, the hint is LOQ, which means words. And somn is actually to do with sleep. So some people who have this problem of talking while sleeping, okay, they talk in sleep, so many eloquent. Even little kids do that a lot, right? Or you also have something called as somnambulist. People who have this issue of walking in sleep. Som, sleep. Ambula is a root, which means to walk. Ambulatory, ambulance has come from that same root, okay? And somn is sleep. Okay, like that. All right. So I think we will I just wanted to give you a flavor of some of these words, right, that you come across, right? And then one word has so many words like cred. Cred means belief. Okay. And there are so many words with this, right? Credible, incredible, credulous, right? Credence, right? A lot of these words, right, that come from, you know, different words, right? Similarly, for example, if you say like pathos, pathos means feeling. So what I would urge you is you should figure out root words and learn some root words. Okay. For example, pathos is feeling, like for example, sympathy, empathy, apathy, antipathy, right? So these words have come from the same root and so on and so forth. All right. So we'll just stop sharing our screen. We will go back to some questions and change gears a little bit. Are there any questions at this point? Okay. All right. So let's go back to our, you know, our questions. All right. Okay. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to choose the words that are opposite in meaning. Okay. So let me also give you just one thing, just a second. I'm just trying to give you a book that you can use. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've got a link. So let me just. So let me share my screen again. So what I'm going to do is, since some people are also asking for a book to prepare on, right? I will share the link from where you can download this book. Okay. Can you see this book? Right. So these are 500 practice questions with solutions So verbal ability, right? You can, go through this book, write synonym questions, right? As you can see, right? These questions are there. Right? These are some practice verbal para jumbles also, right? Different kinds of questions that are there. Idioms. Fill in the blanks. And then these are the solutions so that you can check your answers if they're correct, not correct, right? And do more research. Make sense? So I'm going to give you guys this link from where you can download and do your studies also. All right. I've just shared in the chat the link, from where you can download this. Okay. Make sense? Similarly, and this is just for English, but for example, of course, there is maths, there is logical reasoning, there is, data interpretation and all that, right? So you can just go through that, right? Logical reasoning, different kinds of questions, etc., etc., and then with answers are also mentioned. All right. I hope you're able to access that. And you can download the book and keep it on your desktop. So even if you don't have internet, no problem. You can, just read it and, study that. All right. So let me just come back again to our questions. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So what are these questions now? There is a difference between, synonyms and antonyms, right? Do you know what is synonym? Words which have same meaning. Okay. But there is also something called as, antonyms, which is opposite in meaning, right? So these are antonym questions. All right. So what you're supposed to do is you're just supposed to read this word and say, okay, what this word means, right? And then I have to find the opposite, right, of this word. Okay. So for example, exalted is more like something of very high value, right? Right. So now they're asking opposite of that, right? Ennoble, no. Simplify, no. Glorify, no. Depreciate, yes. Depreciate meaning, depreciating asset meaning something whose value reduces, right? For example, as an economics person, you can say, for example, if let's say you have 50 lakhs, but if you buy a 50 lakh car, that's a depreciating asset, meaning its value will only go down. The moment you buy it, its value is going to go down, right? It's a waste, right? Unless you have extra money to waste, right? But if you buy, for example, invest in, let's say a property, land, right, where rates are, let's say, very low right now, right? But maybe you may get it, twice or thrice the rate, right? After many years, right? Or at least after 5 years, if you're planning to sell it, there could be some appreciation, right? It's not a depreciating asset, right? So things like that. All right. Okay. Now, obvious. This obviously we know, right? What is obvious? Meaning the very apparent, right? But we have to choose the antonym of the same, meaning opposite in meaning. So it would be hidden. All right. Panic. Again, we should say, no, don't panic. Don't suddenly get all panicked and all, right? So panic, and what is the opposite of panic is calm. Some people stay calm, right? Especially in an exam when there is high pressure. And that's why we say, go on the portal, right? Create your account with Google, right? When you create your account with Google, right? That's when you can, just simply, let's say, log in, right? You can, once you log in, You can then you can try the test out and see what questions are there, and practice, so that you don't panic on the same day during exam, right? You should be comfortable with the online test. That's why you're coming for practice, right? Right, the kind of questions that will come. So once you've seen this in the exam, this will not be a shock for you. But many of us will go first time, they will be seeing that paper, so for them there will be that stress will be there for them, right? But for you, if you've looked at the paper, you know how it's going to be, right? So panic, opposite calm. Okay, now rancid, right, meaning something that's slightly rotten and things like that, right? So opposite would be fresh. Aggressive, like for example, you say aggressive, meaning don't be aggressive, right? So there is, like, don't be passive, don't be assertive, right? So let me just explain to you these simple words. So in life, it is very important to know this also, right? I mean, so there are different kinds of people in life. One is passive, some are assertive, aggressive. Okay, passive people are people who let others to, who feel that others are more important than them. So if somebody comes and says anything to them, they easily give away things, right? Or for example, they are always crying, they always feel world is a bad place to be in, right? People are rude, and these people are not very confident, right? They are slightly less confident, very shy, and they are not sure, and if somebody comes and asks them something, even if it is their loss, they just give in, right? These are passive people. We should not be passive people, right? People consider passive people as weak, underconfident, right? And things like that. Okay, the extreme of this is aggressive, like people who are always ready to fight or shout, pick up fights, right? Or shout, right? Aggressive, they get physical, right, very soon. So these people are very aggressive. Nobody wants to be friends with such people, right? Like for example, unnecessarily angry and everything, they feel only they are correct, right? If a teacher is saying share this, they want to just grab it from you, right? And things like that. Assertive people are people who are you know who who smile, right? They are not passive, they will not give in. Their mindset is that I am important and so are you. I am important and you are also important. Okay, aggressive people think only I matter, only I am important, right? So they're right, and that's how they get into fights, and people don't like them, don't like to be friends with them, and so on and so forth, right? Assertive person is confident, they will not let anybody take them for a ride. What is theirs, they will say no, sorry, it doesn't make sense, it's mine, right? Let's share, right? It can't be, why should it be, right? Or let's toss a coin, right, and see who gets which part, right? Aggressive person will say no, it's mine, give it to me, right? Even if it's not theirs, right? Passive people, okay, fine, you only take, it's okay, I'll just adjust. World is like that, right? So these people are underconfident, they feel world is a bad place, but we should all try to be assertive. Okay, what is yours should be yours, nobody should be able to take that from you. But then you should have logical argument, explain to the person why it's not correct, and smile, and that should be the assertive behavior, right? So I'll just stop sharing, come back to the same thing that we were discussing, our paper. And this was a aggressive, right? Aggressive meaning eager to fight, ready to fight. In a queue, people who don't follow queue, they'll randomly go and randomly just say hello. But somebody who's submissive, they may say okay fine. Passive, okay fine, you go first, right? They won't say anything. But assertive person, they'll be like, hello, excuse me, I think there is a queue here, can you please be in the queue, right? And he may say no, 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 but I have to go. No, we all have to go, we are all in a hurry. I mean, sometimes it's fine, I'm saying, if it's genuine, but some people are just aggressive. So you shouldn't let you know you shouldn't get into fight, but with talks you should sort of discuss that, right? So aggressive, so opposite would be peaceful. All right, okay. All right, now we come to here. Okay, two more questions. Okay. So these are basically synonym questions, right? So let me skip these questions a little bit. Let's do a little bit of change. Okay. Let's do here. Okay. Okay. Let's do 16 to 20. Okay. Because they were similar. I mean, you have to choose the correct word, not correct word, and things like that. So let's do this. It says in these questions, as part of the sentence has errors and other parts have none. Find out which part has an error, right? So majority of the computer professionals recommends that effective measures should be taken against software piracy. Now, for example, this is a subject verb agreement. Okay, error. So it says the majority of the computer professionals, the majority recommend, okay, that effective measures should be taken against software piracy. Okay, so it should be recommend, not recommends. All right, so things like that. Okay, so majority of computer professionals, right? So of the professionals meaning most recommend. So now here is where some of the grammar rules are there. So let me just share my screen and talk to you a little bit about some grammar rules. If there are any questions in between, feel free to ask me. Is there anything in the chat? Can you all see my screen? I hope everybody can see my screen. Please type in the chat if you can see my screen. Okay, great. Okay, yeah. So now what happens is when it comes to grammar, there are different kinds of, errors. Okay. Let me teach you one error. Okay. It's called subject verb agreement. Okay. What that means is that the subject and the verb should be in agreement. So first, before we understand subject and verb, like there are different parts of speech. Okay. For example, noun, pronoun, and so on. Okay. Okay. These are the 8 parts of speech. Noun meaning a naming word, name of a person, place, or thing. Pronoun, something that is used in place of a noun. So noun is, for example, if I say Elenga, that's a name of a person, right? Or if I say let's say Sri Lanka, that's a name of a country, right? If I say pronoun meaning he, she, they, right? Like that. Adjective is, for example, something that describes the quality of something. For example, if I'm saying, for example, if I say Amani is intelligent, right? So intelligent is an adjective describing that person. Okay. Adverb is something that describes the quality of a verb. So for example, if I say let's say adverb is, let's say if I say Arva is very quick. So very is an adverb. Okay. Quick is verb. Okay. So something that describes quality of a adjective or a verb. Okay. Or runs fast, right? Runs very fast, or runs quickly, runs very quickly, right? Adverb, right? Verb is something that describes action. For example, if I say Rory Sang is concentrating. Okay, is concentrating, right? Or if I say For example, Neonzima is eating in between the class or during the class. Okay, during the class, right? So things like that, right? Preposition we discussed, right? On, at, etc., right? Conjunction is like either or, neither nor, not only but also, right? All that, right? And then interjunction is like alas, hooray, right? Something that shows sudden emotion and things like that. So we are talking about right now, we're talking about subject verb agreement. Okay, so what is a subject? The doer of the action. For example, if I say, for example, let me say, Clemens is eating an apple, right? So who is eating? Who is the doer? Who is the subject? Clemens. Okay, right? And who is the object? Apple. Okay, or Ramesh slapped Suresh, for example, right? So this person is the doer of the action, and on whom the action is done, receiver of the action. Got it? So subject object, right? Verb is slapped, eating, like that. So the simple rule is subject and verb should be in agreement. For example, if I say, Ramesh eats or Ramesh eat. Eats, right? Why? Because Ramesh is a single person. Okay, if I say Alex and Daniel plays football. Do you think this is correct? Plays. Here you're saying Alex and Daniel, meaning there are two people, right? So your subject is plural. So it should not be play. It should not be plays. It should be play. Because when the subject is plural, your verb should also be plural. When your subject is singular, meaning this is one person, right? Singular. Your verb should also be singular. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So for example, Ramesh eat, but if I eats, but if I say they eat, okay. James right, James and the are or is playing. James and Mulyata are or is playing. Are, right? So these are simple things, meaning when your subject is plural, meaning if it's one person, then it's singular. But when 1 plus 1, right? When this becomes 1 plus 1, 2, meaning it becomes plural. So with plural subject, you should have plural sorry, you should have plural. Oh no. You should have plural, verb. That's the logic. Easy, understood everybody? And when we talk about, verbs, for example, sing, sings, eat, eats, dance, dances, sleep, sleeps. So the one in the verb, the one with the S is the singular form. Don't get mistaken here. This is the singular form, the verb with the S. Okay, S and ES, this is the singular form. Unlike the noun where you say a tree, the plural of tree is trees. This is the plural form. But this is a noun, right? We are talking about verbs, but in verbs, it's the opposite. Okay. The one with the S, ES is the singular form. Okay. Got it, everyone? All right. Now I'm going to confuse you guys. Okay. I am really going to confuse you now. Okay. And I will ask you questions, and I'm sure some of you may struggle. Okay. Now let me first clean all this up. Let me discard all this. And now I will ask you. Okay. If I say, Ramesh as well as Suresh are planning for a holiday together. So the correct answer is is. Now, if the question is Ramesh and Suresh is or are, whatever, playing or whatever, right? So are is the correct answer. But when you have as well as or together with, or along with, or in addition to, when you have these words and not and, what happens is the first subject really determines what the verb should be. Okay, and that's why this confusion. Understood? Understood, everybody? So when you will see as well as, along with, together with, it will be the first subject. If it is singular, verb should be singular. If it's plural, verb should be plural. Understood? For example, if I say, my parents along with my sister is or are planning to visit me. along with. Still people are confused. Some people are saying is, some people are saying are. See, what did I tell you? What is the logic? I'm saying if it is along with, or together with, or as well as, or in addition to, this will not matter. This verb will be changed basis this. Meaning, if this is singular, this one will be singular. If this is plural, this one will be plural, the verb. So because my parents is plural, it would be are. Okay. But if it was my sister along with my parents is or are, then it would be basis on my sister, which is, so it would be is. Understood? Because this is singular and therefore it would be the singular. All right, that's the logic. I hope you got a little confused. Okay, now one more. Let's say if I say either my brother or my sister is or are visiting me. So should it be is or should it be are? Very simple. Either this or that. Yeah, so this is easy, right? So it should be is obviously, right? Because either my brother will come or my sister will come, right? Now, only thing is here also sometimes if it is either my brother or my friends, visiting me. So my brother or my friends. So either or, but one side is singular, one is plural. Do you know how will we choose this? What is the rule here? It's a little confusing. But the rule here is when it comes to either or neither nor and things like that, the rule is the verb is changed according to the subject place closest to it. So either my brother or my friends are visiting me, because closer to the verb is this subject, which is plural. But if it is either my friends or my brother is visiting me. Got it? Same with neither nor. Understood, guys? So in either or neither nor, the verb is modified according to the subject place closest to it. And again, I told you I'll confuse you. That's why I'm confusing you. Okay. The simple ones are easy, right? Yeah. All right. So subject verb agreement, the simple logic is the subject should be in agreement with the verb. Okay. If subject is singular, verb should be singular. Subject is plural, verb should be plural. Okay. All right. Let's just go back to our main questions sheet that we were doing. Okay. Okay. Majority of the computer professionals recommend, because majority of the professionals is plural, right? With plural, it should be recommend or recommends. It should be plural, plural. So it should be recommend, not recommends. And that was the mistake. Okay. Okay, and sometimes there is also okay, I will have both the blue or the black pen. I will have both the blue or the black pen. What do you think is the problem? And exactly. So either or, but both X and Y, both Ramesh and Suresh. It's not like both Ramesh or Suresh. I will have both. With both, it should be and, right? Both X and Y, not or Y. That is, if it was either the blue or the black pen, then it's fine. Neither the blue nor the black pen, that's fine. But here, that's the problem. Okay. Who of the two do you think will be dismissed first? Or which of the two? Okay. She is not leaving Dehradun tomorrow as order for her transfer. In order for her transfer. In order for her transfer. As order for her transfer. She's not leaving Dehradun tomorrow because or on account of her as her transfer have been cancelled, right? So as order for her transfer doesn't sound correct, so that's the problem here. Correct? So can you see 20th? She's not leaving Dehradun tomorrow as order for her transfer, or as the order of her transfer, as the orders. Yeah. So this is the problem, right? As the order for her transfer have been cancelled, right? As the orders have been cancelled, something. Yeah. 19th, after every participant had 3 minutes to express their opinion. So let me just share this also. Yeah. So let me say there is something called as distributive pronoun. Okay, what does that mean? Just a second. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Okay, so something called as distributive pronoun. For example, and there is a rule also, it's called pronoun antecedent error. All right. Now, what is a distributive pronoun? For example, when you say each, every, for example, if I say each student of this class is or are good. Yes, guys, is or are. Each student of this class is good, are good. It is good, not are good. Because each is a distributive pronoun. Similarly, every student of this class is good, not are good. Okay, so each and every are distributive pronouns. They consider things individually. Understood? If I say all students of this class are good, that's fine then. All students of this class are good. That's okay. Okay. But not each student is good or every student, because these are distributive pronouns. They consider things individually. All right. Now, if I say all the students should bring their notebooks so what do you think it should be? All the students should bring his or her notebooks to the class, or their notebooks to the class? There, right? Why? Because again, pronoun antecedent error, meaning pronoun and its antecedent should be in agreement, right? So this is referring to this, right? So this is plural, so this should be plural. Or if I say each student must bring his or her notebooks to the class. Okay, so each, again, distributive. Okay, his or her, again, singular. Understood? Like for example, at the railway station, we say na, one should belongings. Do you think this sentence is correct or incorrect? What do you think about this sentence? This sentence is correct, incorrect? One should take care of their belongings. This is an incorrect sentence. Incorrect. Because why should one take care of their belongings? Why should one person take care of everybody's belongings? One should take care of one's belongings. Are you getting? Or he should take care of his belongings. She should take care of her belongings. So one should take care of one's belongings. Okay? Not one should take care of their belongings. Understood? Things like that. All right? So simple things like, but pronoun antecedent agreement. Make sense? Okay. Now some things are, rule based. For example, how we did, like, for example, you should know the grammar rule, right? In order to, for example, attempt, some of these questions. Sometimes you should know the meaning of words. So you should read English, you should learn new words and all that, right? So that's one, right? That's grammar rules, right? And then this we discussed, right? The idioms, right? So you should do common idioms. And you know what you should do? I would say you should search like 100, common idioms in English, right? And idioms have very interesting stories also, by the way, right? So you can just go for common idioms and, just search for them, just go through it. And how you should do is you should spend like 15-20 minutes, not more than that, on idioms. But every day do 10 idioms, right? You still have a lot of time for your exam. So you should do, like, you should say 1 hour I'll do maths, 1 hour I'll do, logical reasoning, 1 hour, I can solve a test example. but then I will also do 10 idioms every day. So for example, see things like beating about the bush or beating around the bush. That means not coming to the point straight, right? Talking roundabout, right? Or get your act together. Like your parent may say, your father may say, your mom may say, okay, I want you to just shut up and focus on your studies now. Just get your act together. Enough of whiling away your time, right? And things like that. I want you to focus on your career, right? So get your act together, right? Hit the sack, because in the old days people used to sleep on the on those hay sack, right? So they used to say hit the sack. Okay, your guess is as good as mine, meaning I'm not too sure, right? Right, and things like that. Okay, and like that, right? So you can go through these idioms, right? They always help, and they ask you, right, some of the idioms, right, as you can see is on the cards, right? Because when you come to a different country where you don't know our language, we don't know your language, so ultimately we both have to work together, right? How will we work together if we have a common language? That common language is English, right? And therefore this whole need to, for example, to speak the same language so that we understand. Okay, and see, this is the one thing that I was talking about, right? So for example, this is a passage. Okay, so typically passages don't require any knowledge, right? Because all the answers are here, but you should understand what the questions are, right? And then answer basis on the passage. So it talks about self-directed learning in its broadest meaning, describes a process in which individuals take the initiative with or without the help of other in diagnosing their learning needs, formulations of learning goals, identifying resources for learning, choosing and implementing learning strategies, and evaluating learning outcomes. Thus, it is important to attain new knowledge easily and skillfully for the rest of his or her life. Learning is so important, my friends, that in the old days, the things used to not change so often. Now, whatever you know, in 10 years, that becomes obsolete. Why? Because things are changing all the time. If you learn one computer language also, in 10 years, that language, a new language will come. So the thing is, it's so important that how you did things, you have to constantly learn, whether you are in a job or wherever you are, right? So we must always have that appetite for learning. It should not be because our parents or anybody is forcing us to learn. We should learn on our own. Okay, so this is talking about self-directed learning, where you take control of your life, because it's your career, it's your life. You are not waiting for somebody else to teach you, but you learn on your own. Okay, so thus it is important to attain new knowledge easily and skillfully for the rest of his or her life. There are many reasons for self-directed learning. One reason is that it is convincing evidence that people who take the initiative in learning learn more things and learn better than people waiting to be taught. Okay, that's one. Second, so these people learn quickly and they learn better than others who are waiting to be taught. Secondly, self-directed learning is more in tune with a natural process of psychological development, an essential aspect of maturing in developing the ability to take increasing responsibility of our own lives to become increasingly self-directed. So we should take control of our own lives, and it seems it's in line with our natural process of psychological development, and therefore we should increasingly be more self-directed. The third reason is that many of the new developments in education put a heavy responsibility on the learners to take deal of initiatives in their own learning. To meet the challenges in today's instructive environment, self-directed learning is most essential, right? Doing your own research, doing a lot of these things, right? And things like that. So see, now there can be like a question on this, right? In self-directed learning, an individual takes initiative with or without the help of others. Okay, is passive and waits for directions. No, that is not self-directed learning. Is helpless and dependent. I don't think so, right? Takes initiatives without any purpose. See, this line is to fool you, right? When did he say that you take initiative without purpose? Randomly you'll start reading something. No, you take control of your life, you realize what is important, so you take initiative with or without the help of others. So if you see here, first line, self-directed learning describes a process in which individuals take the initiative with or without the help of other. So it is the first sentence that is correct. So I'm saying this is how you will do your passages. Okay, And I don't want to do this complete passage now. I'll just stop maybe sharing my screen, but I just wanted to share with you, this is how your overall question paper will come, right? So I think, hope this gave you a good idea as to what your paper is going to look like. And maybe I can just spend some time on talking about our portal, if you will, right, as to how should you go about taking mock tests, etc. So you can create a free account on our portal, stepuplearning.net, right? And even if you don't understand, there's a video on the portal that explains how you can do this, but very simple. Google, Facebook, login. Remember to choose your exam as PRAGATII SII Scholarship Test. Don't choose any other random exam like CAT, GRE, or any other exam, okay? Yours is SII Scholarship Exam, Study in India Scholarship Exam. PRAGATII is the name of the exam that you're going to give. So please choose that. Once you log in, you will be inside the portal, right? And then this talks about the different things that you have. There are full length tests, there are topic wise tests, there are videos available. You can also download study material, right? Something if you would like. Otherwise, go to the test zone. In the test zone, if you come here, you can take the SII Scholarship Exam 1, okay? Or for example, you can take, let's say, the PRAGATII, test 1. But the idea is that you should take these tests so that you become more comfortable. So I would say, all of you, I urge you to take this test called SII Scholarship Exam 1. There are 90 minutes, 90 questions, and 90 marks. Go to this exam and a new window will pop up, and then you start taking the exam. So I would urge all of you to take this test today or tomorrow, and then on the Monday session, your teacher can discuss the same. All right, SII Scholarship Exam. Sonam ma'am can discuss the same with you, and you can ask your doubts to her. Okay, see how your marks are and all that. Okay. In addition, if you want to learn more, you can also go to, like, if you want to take a small test, for example, on grammar. So just do this, right? Go to exam, start, right? And you can take this test. Okay. So this is our portal where you can also take these different tests, right? To prepare yourself. Okay. I will stop sharing my screen and see if you have any questions for me. So I'm going to share the link of our website where you can take the tests. Okay. So every Sunday, you should take one mock test. Not every day you should take a mock test. That's a waste of time. You should take a test every, weekend, and then go through the test, ask your doubts to the teacher, right? See what the correct answer is, see why you got it wrong, right? So all of that can really help you to prepare well. All right. That's the idea. So mix of practice and learning. It should not be only learning, but you don't practice, right? It should not be like I'm only, I should not practice. That's a problem. So that in the exam we'll fail otherwise, right? So it's important we do both, right? We do learning, we will also do practice. We will evaluate ourselves, see what changes need to be made. Where am I making mistakes? Is my accuracy low? Is my speed low? Am I facing pressure? Once you take 4 or 5 tests, you'll be more comfortable taking the exam. I've also shared the link for the book that you can download from our drive, right? That also can help you. Cut out marks we need to take eligible for study in India. I think it depends on the top 2000 students and how they score. But I would say around 60 to 70% is what you should target, right? Minimum 60% so that you can comfortably get good scholarship. But it was a pleasure talking to all of you, and I want to wish you all the best. I so hope that all of you get 100% scholarship and really come to India and really pursue your dreams. I want to wish you all the very best. And on Monday you will have class with Sonam ma'am. So yeah, thank you very much and all the very best. We will also invite Jain University team to answer any questions that you may have on your mind around scholarship exam, etc. Okay, thank you everyone. Take care and keep learning on our Step Up YouTube channel as well.